because the victor decides what will be on the table.
Yeah.
So it is the Iranians who will decide, and what the Iranians will be asking for if they come to the negotiating table.
If they do.
If they do.
That's a big if.
So they'll be asking for major concessions from the Western countries, from America, and those are the concessions that America will find very difficult to give. And therefore, what I am looking at is escalation. Now, here is the point.
What are these conditions that you expect the Iranians to pose?
So there are a couple of very basic things that have to be accepted. The first is they want a control over the Strait of Hormuz. In some way, it has to be discussed. That is the basic thing. The second thing is that they want the American bases out of Middle East.
Yes.
So we are talking about winding up everything, some 50,000 troops.
70,000 troops.
Sorry, about 70,000 troops, they'll be out. The third thing is they will not accept any reduction of their ballistic missile production. That is completely out of the question. So the only thing...
And they'll have to, there are also the removal of sanctions.
Yes.
And the payment of reparations.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am basically saying that there are four basic things which have to be accepted by the Western countries and America. So, as I said, those very fundamental things for the Iranians, they are control over Strait of Hormuz, no restrictions on the ballistic missile, and the number three is the Americans and the Europeans to be out of the theater of war, and the fourth is reparations.
But technically, according to international law, who has the control over those Hormuz straits?
So you see, there is nothing as a law on that. It is a free thing, a canal where people can be there.
Under the law of the sea, there is freedom of navigation.
That's right.
But the Iranians are saying, now that war has been brought upon us, we will allow non-hostile shipping to go through the strait, but we will not allow oil tankers, and we will certainly not allow military naval ships, especially those belonging to the Americans and the Israelis or any of the Western powers, to use the Straits of Hormuz.
So basically, they want to control and regulate the Strait of Hormuz. And this is where we know 20%.
This is just like Egypt nationalizing the Suez Canal because they wanted to control and regulate passage through the Suez Canal. And it led in 1956 to a war hatched by Israel with France and England, but it was quickly brought to an end. Please.
Yeah. So, as you pointed out, so this is the freedom of navigation, but all the rules here, they were set by the Americans. Now they want control over the Strait of Hormuz, the entire thing. They will decide, as he rightly pointed out, which shipping goes from there, what doesn't go from there. So some sort of a new regulatory body has to be there, which will be presided by the Iranians.
At the same time, I think we also ought to recognize that the problem arose from a completely illegal regime of sanctions which the United States of America, economic sanctions, which the United States of America imposed on Iran. Now, it is legitimate to have United Nations sanctions, but not to have United States sanctions. And one of the victims of the sanctions was me personally, because as Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, I was trying to get a pipeline laid from the South Pars field, which has now been bombed by the Israelis, a pipeline that would run through Pakistan and come to India. But the Americans under George W. Bush made it a condition that this proposal not be pursued in order for us to get the civil nuclear deal. We got the civil nuclear deal, but till today, and it's now 30 years since then, we have not received 1 unit of nuclear electricity. That's the ironic thing.
But coming back to the war, isn't it a fact that there are no winners? There are 3 losers, because the US, we don't know, and I don't think President Trump knows what he wants out of it. They lost a whole lot of money, and I think a whole lot of prestige. Moral standing, I don't know whether they had, but if they did, it is erased. Israel the population must have realized that they're not immune to the violence that they themselves perpetrate around them. They can also be hit. And all said and done, Iran is putting up a brave fight, but it's greatly weakened economically and militarily. And its leadership is gone. So there are no winners, so what is the end game?
So you see, I have a different perspective on this. And the perspective is what this war is doing basically is that Iran, in my opinion, will emerge as the leading power in West Asia. That's one. Number two, America will lose. And with America losing, what will happen is that the present world order that we have in the world, its end will be hastened. That means a new world order has to come. And as far as West Asia is concerned, the dominant power of the new world order here is Iran. And the new world order, we already know, it is already in the making. And that is where the global south is going. And it is supported by two great powers in the multipolar world that we have today. And those two powers which support.
The one thing you've left out is what happens to Israel. They wanted Iran to not survive. But it looks as if Israel won't survive in this new world order that you've talked about.
So what will happen is that Iran emerges as the dominant power in West Asia. And as we were discussing, one of their basic conditions is that the American bases should be closed here. Obviously, the central command will remain in some other form. It will not remain where it is right now, which is the forward headquarters in Qatar. It will have to be closed down here. In some form, it will remain to support Israel. But now here is the thing, because he's asking the question on Israel. In Iran, there is a very prominent person who's their unofficial spokesperson called Professor Marandi. And he was asked that, what do you think of this aggressive regime? So he said that yes, the war that they are waging is a war of aggression and terrorism. What he was implying is that aggression is being done by America and terrorism is being done by Israel. So my point is very simple. Israel, in my opinion, is not a nation which sponsors terrorism. It is a nation which is a terrorist state. Because if you see the killings and the genocide that they have done, it is all on the ground to see what they are doing. And without the help of the Americans, there is no way that that dream of a greater Israel can ever be realized. So we are looking at a situation where all the GCC countries will have to rethink their security. That is a big thing.
In this process, is Israel likely to survive? And if it can survive, will it have to drop extreme Zionism as the state's philosophy and treat Arabs, both the Palestinians who are now on the periphery and the Arabs who are Israeli citizens equally, and end the appetite which they are running against the Arab citizens?
So I believe that Israel will survive, but its wings will be clipped. This whole thinking, it may